الآن تبدأ ورشة عمل بعنوان كيف تستخدم استراتيجية عقلك. يدير الورشة مارك بولارد. نتمنى لكم وقتاً مؤثراً. Now we are starting our workshop titled How Strategically Leverage Your Mind. We hope you have a profoundly impactful time.
We're good? Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mark. This is how I sound. This is Australian. I live in the US. I will speak at this pace because my jokes are a little bit fast. Today, we're going to spend 1 hour together. I'm going to run you through some strategy techniques, some frameworks, some of which I've created, some of which I've borrowed, all of which I've been playing with for the past probably 20 years in Sydney, Australia, and in New York in the USA. But really what I'm going to do, while I talk to you about some stuff to do with strategy in advertising and marketing, is I want to prove to you that your main client is you. And that sometimes we learn critical thinking techniques and we apply them in business, but the real gold is when we apply them to the things that are happening inside our minds. I'm going to have a guest come up soon. I know who it's going to be. And I'm essentially going to do very, very aggressive therapy on them in public if they allow me to. Does this sound okay? Wonderful, wonderful. I like a clap. Now, I know a lot of you, I think I'm being interpreted or translated, and the challenge for anyone in translation is it's a very tiring job. I do speak English, but I do it with an Australian sense of humor and an Australian accent. And I know that I'm going to be really funny in the next hour, and for me what's funny is that sometimes it will take 30 seconds for you to laugh. That was quick. Okay. We've got that. Big thanks to the people who are doing the translation. I know it's a tough job. I arrived very late on Friday night, almost Saturday morning, and I've spent the past 3 days in Riyadh. Wasn't entirely sure what to expect. The first night, which was Saturday, I went to the third night of Middle East. So just as a test, please keep looking at me if you were also there on Saturday night. I thought so. Really, really interesting. In the past few days, I visited Diriyah twice. We had a beautiful event there last night. I managed to get this dog on Monday morning at the market in the Old Town in Riyadh. Thank you. Nice tobe. And what has been really interesting, because I wasn't sure what to wear to this big gala event last night, or even to tonight, is a few of my friends, local friends, were like, you should wear a tobe. And I didn't know how to feel about that, because in the West, we hear about cultural appropriation, exoticism, Orientalism, where someone outside of your country might fetishize something inside of your country. I didn't want to do that. Nor did I want to turn up on the internet as doing fancy dressing up as someone from somewhere else. For the people who use TikTok here, I didn't want to be doing cosplay. Okay, a few of you know what I'm talking about. Good. Basically dressing up as your favorite cartoon character, but the metaphor has been extended. When I got this tobe done, it was same day, I was given some headwear to wear, and the gentleman who sold it to me is Yemeni. So he gave me a Yemeni style. I'm Australian, and I quite related to it because it just felt like it was just put on in a really raw way. And on that first day, I was still wearing jeans and a sweater. I was walking around Riyadh, even in the bathrooms. Guys would just look at me and be like, aggressively, some of them might go, and I knew they were not saying that I'm crazy because they hadn't spoken to me yet. And then last night I thought, okay, I'll wear the top. I didn't know how I would feel. And honestly, it feels elegant and it feels comfortable. And increasingly, as I've spoken to tens and tens of people here, they were like, we would like you to wear it because it's a sign of respect. And since I've been wearing it, I get lovely comments like that. Nice top, appreciate you wearing that. There aren't many places in the world where you can go where you get that kind of gentle community support. And it was really, really interesting to me. Went to Boulevard World, had a really good walk around there, went to the Groves, the National Museum, had this awesome tour guide who told me, I don't know if it's true, I think it's true, that he was involved with setting up the Ministry of Tourism. There was originally 20 people, I think, that were brought together, and we were lucky enough to have him as a guide. His name's Dawood. And it was so cool, because he had a sense of humor. And he's been so successful, but he loves taking people around because he loves taking people around. He doesn't need to. So we've had an amazing few days here, so big thanks to for the hospitality, and I just want to sort of share my little journey. Let's get into this. My story, and I've written this little book that maybe I should also translate into Arabic pretty soon, Strategies of Words. It starts with this. Forgive the sponsor's logo. There. Close your eyes. Don't look at the logo. Is that a good joke or not? That did not work. That was a really good joke, and it did not work. So a lot of you will know who this is, Andrea Pirlo, one of Italy's most famous footballers. He's about a year or two older than me, and he's so good looking that whenever I have him on the screen, I feel like I'm cheating on him by looking at you. He's just so good looking, so good looking. He moved to New York about a year after I moved to New York from Sydney, Australia. He played for NYCFC, New York City Football Club. They play in Yankee Stadium. The football or soccer field is not full size. It can't fit in the baseball stadium, but they've been a relatively successful football club over there. And a year into his time playing in MLS, Major League Soccer, he was asked this question: what's it like playing football or soccer in the US? And he said this: there's a lot of running and too little play. A lot of running and too little play. 3 times a charm. A lot of running and too little play. And he talked about this cultural void in football in the US, where a lot of you will have done business in the US, and I know a lot of you might have even gone to college. You have family in the US. The US is very hardworking. The main thing people want to ask you when you go there is, what do you do? The main question I get asked here, I'll enter a room like this and people say, what do you think? and I had this realization today that when I travel, I don't travel to think about a place. I travel to learn about a place. And I was like, maybe that's the better question to ask, because you're going to have so many, you already have like 100 million visitors a year, but you're going to probably have different kinds of visitors in the years to come. I think a better question is, what have you learned about us? Right? Because anyone coming here judging you through their own lens about like, you should be more like this, that's not a fun tourist to have around. Right? It's more about learning. And I see travel as an intellectual pursuit. That's why I love to travel. I learn, I go to countries, and it literally makes me feel stupid. So I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know this and this and this and that. And then I get excited because I know there's so much more to learn. Back to the story. With Andrea Pirlo, he was describing this football culture where Americans are running. At that time, not a lot of technical skill relative to what he was used to, not a lot of tactical nous, not a lot of tactical thinking skills as well. It has shifted though, the US has shifted. I was about 2 years into my time in the US. I went over to work in an agency called Saatchi & Saatchi. I was then at this time working in a really cool digital agency in Brooklyn called Big Spaceship, really cool name. And I worked about 4 different corporate American jobs in 5 years. But this quote hit me in the gut. I felt seen. I was like, I knew Andrea Pirlo understood me. I've never met him, but I felt so understood. Because at that time, I'd never been to so many meetings with so many people, run so many workshops in so many cities. I'm going from New York to Brooklyn, it's different, okay? To Brooklyn, to Minneapolis, to Chicago, to Silicon Valley. Oh my God, I'm going to Silicon Valley. It's corporate America. It's the same. It's almost the same as Minneapolis. And Australians, for those of you who are fortunate or unfortunate enough to know us, we're a little bit cheeky. We don't like hierarchy. We're very direct. Nearly everything we say is a joke, but you won't know. Okay, I just gave you the key to unlocking any interaction you have with an Australian. And I just could not get to close. I've been studying Spanish lately, and it's ruining my English. Does anybody like reggaeton? Okay, we got one person. Reggaeton, Brazil, funk, dembo, favorite music genres. I could not get close to doing work that I was proud of. Now, at this time, I had shifted into managing other people, and that really becomes your work at a certain age or a certain life stage. And life stage is not always connected to age. But this quote really, really hit me. Now, I talk a lot about words, I talk a lot about frameworks, but at the heart of what I want you all to leave this situation with, because you're on a mission, I have a working theory about Saudi Arabia that I will share with you in a second. I'll give it to you now. You think big, you act fast, and you get what you want. And the people I know are not very good at time. Okay, you took that well, you took that well, you took that well. There's no hook that's going to take me off the stage, right? I've been joking with all my friends because they don't turn up on time. I'm like, 10 is 10, I'm a gringo. My main message, especially as you're growing, right, is this was built, where we are right now was built, I think, within 5 days, and the engineering, the electricals were done in 3 days. What? How on earth is that possible? That's not possible in many places. It literally blows my mind. And I don't say things if I don't mean them. I don't need to say nice things to anybody. So now I have to find something negative to say. Oh, I made the time reference. I've got the time reference in my back pocket. But as you grow, because it's just going to happen so quickly, I can't understand it. Ask yourself, am I working for the sake of working? Do we need to have this meeting? Could we not have this meeting and be more effective? And also have some fun. You're under pressure to grow. You want to grow. You want to change this country. Make sure you play. What we're going to go through very, very quickly is, and I might not get through all of it, but I'm going to do my best to get through the bulk of it. I'm going to go through a 4-hour masterclass I do in about an hour. So it's going to be very, very quick. We're going to go through these things here. This is big business language, jargon, ideas. I have 12 slides that I think I need to give you about marketing, the marketing sciences. That'll take about 10 minutes. The 4 points framework will talk about problems, insights, advantages, and strategy. And that's what we're going to get through today. I don't actually have a clock in front of me to be able to navigate the time situation, so let me just do this. Okay. By way of background, I set up the first full-color underground hip-hop magazine in the Southern Hemisphere. I was running this underground community radio show. Hip-hop was my life. I happened to work in advertising, initially doing digital stuff, information architecture, user experience for companies like Audi, Nestle, etc. I wrote this little book here. We raised about $40,000 just before the pandemic, sold it independently. I've sold about 8,000 copies, which as someone who loves to publish is amazing because, I don't know if you know this, most books don't sell. So independently as an Australian in the US, to be able to get my family through the pandemic, partly through book sales, is like, I get very emotional on the inside when I see this. And teaching a lot around the world. Next year we're going to do at least 25 countries or 25 cities in 2025, so it's busy. That's all I'm going to say about background. What I would like you to do is if you have pen and paper, please get your pen and paper out, or if you have a phone, and I'm going to run you through some exercises. We're going to start with some creativity exercises. The very first one, and we will go quickly, the very first one is I'll give you about 60 seconds. I want you to write down 5 unusual ways to use a brick, okay? 5 unusual ways to use a brick. You can work in any language, but I'll give you about 60 seconds.
Test.
Are there stairs? No stairs. Stairs. Decent harder. It's close enough to a minute. I'm now going to place a microphone in front of a few people's mouths. Can you give me one in any language? Just one. I'll hold the microphone. One way to use a brick that's different. Just one.
I'm sorry, I have no
That's okay.
idea.
That's okay.
In a fighting.
Fighting?
Yeah.
You fight with a brick? Yes.
Play anything.
Play anything. And you set up the front. Don't blame me. Yes. It's a game. A game.
To hold books.
Hold books up, yeah, on bookshelf.
Put it in my head.
Put it on your head. Yes, why not? Okay, that's good. That's good. This is called Guildford's Alternative Uses Test. It's from 1967. Also, I hope the Arabic is good. We had some help. Yes. Guildford's Alternative Uses Test is from 1967. Guildford and his partner were trying to measure creativity. They would run an exercise like this. Colloquially, it's known as the brick test. What they would see is the quantity, how many ideas people could generate in a set period of time, the novelty of those ideas. Have I heard them before? On this point, did anybody come up with an idea that you think is very Saudi, that I would not have heard because I've heard thousands of answers? Yell it at, we have two, yell it at me. Okay, thanks a lot. We have a microphone coming.
So back when we were kids, we were using the bricks as a goal for the football.
Okay.
Playing in the
Yeah.
playing in the middle of the street.
Perfect, thank you. And can you pass it behind you as well? Thank you. We'll do one more.
When you want to pound meat in a kitchen.
Pound meat in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That happens now, or is that
No,
very
but,
Saudi?
Like, don't you need anything heavy to pound the meat or chicken to make it a steak?
Okay,
So you pound meat with it.
perfect. Thank you. So often we hear things like fry an egg, bicep curls, a pillow, put the brick under a tire of a car that's on a hill. Usually, if we're near water, that's how I say water. Water. It's horrible. It's one Australian word that makes me cringe water. Got any water, mate? Often, if we're near water, somebody is having a brick tied to their ankle and they're getting drowned. Smash a window, steal something. We hear these sorts of things, okay? Depth is the most abstract part of this, but the most useful thing to understand. If you work with ideas, if you work with advertising agencies, copywriters, creatives, I don't suggest that you start to talk about deep ideas, but depth of idea is useful. A deep idea is an idea that has quite a lot of attributes or features or ingredients combined in a new way. I'm going to get you to do this exercise one more time. 60 seconds, one idea, but I want you to make it really silly, and I'll give you an example. Good luck with this, anybody who's interpreting. Let's say that a brick-eating alien species arrives on planet Earth, and they refuse to leave until they get all of the bricks. They've eaten all the bricks, they still refuse to leave, so we make one final brick, we call it the peace brick, and they leave. I want you to write one crazy long sentence like that and give it a name. So 60 seconds, what's one really unusual way to use a brick? Like crazy unusual. Okay? Write a long, silly paragraph and give this idea a name. Okay, 60 seconds. If you're struggling with this, don't worry. You can stay for the jokes. I'm at least 5 out of 10 funny. Not 6, but at least 5. Maybe 2 people. Can you remind me what time I finish? 9:15 or 9:30? Ten seconds. Okay. For now, in this section, would anybody like to share their crazy idea? Amara will find you. Just 2 people. Thank you. And you don't have to speak English, but speak whichever language is
fine.
comfortable.
A brick has been placed in water and start to grow and grow in the size of a 10-story building.
Okay. Oh, great. I feel like that's a Saudi idea. I don't know, did everybody hear it? It's a brick that will turn into a 10-story building just by watering it, right? We needed to add that little part. So me adding that little attribute is making that idea deeper. Thank you. There was one hand over here. We'll just do one more. Thank you for that.
Maybe I can tell the alien that it's the break could be a sign of expressing your love to your lover. How?
It's a love letter.
Yes.
Okay.
How, for example, you tell your lover, try to carry it, and then it's going to be very heavy. And then you tell your lover, the weight of your love in my heart is more than it's heavier than that. But I don't know how my heart is really handled all of that.
I love that. I love that. In the museum, you know what I learned? Poetry is really important here, and I think we have a future poet. A brick poet. You're a future brick poet. Thank you for that. That was silly. It was fun. Has anybody heard that idea before? No, so it's novel. Next exercise. If you have a piece of paper, draw a line and draw 5 small lines across it. If you're working on a phone, wait for my next instruction. If you're working in your head, wait for my next instruction. For those of you working on paper, at the bottom of this line, write the word Australia. Up the line, write 5 things that come to mind when you think of Australia. See if you can shock me. Okay? Australia at the bottom. 5 things that come to mind when you think of Australia. If you're working on a phone, in your notes document, write the word Australia. Under it, 5 things that come to mind when you think of Australia. With me, you cannot get anything wrong. As the future leaders of this country, probably have some current leaders here. Thank you for coming. If you want people in your teams to be creative, make sure they understand it's not about right and wrong. It's largely about interesting or boring. We're going to move quickly. Does anybody know what this is called? This is fundamental in creative and, I believe, strategic thinking. This is called linear thinking. Edward de Bono, who passed away recently, published a book around 1967 as well called The Uses of Lateral Thinking. One of the world's leading intellectuals about critical thinking and creativity as a competitive advantage in business. He wanted creativity taught in schools. Not art necessarily, that's a form of creativity, but creativity more to do with critical thinking. Linear thinking in English is going down a line. Going down neom's a line, right? So I can use this as a metaphor to get you to remember. Going down a neom of thought. We take a topic as we know it, and we think about the things we easily associate with that topic. That's linear thinking. If you're working on paper, we do this one more time. Draw a line and put 5 small lines across it. We'll make this relatively simple. At the bottom of this line, write the word Riyadh. Riyadh. And now you know the exercise. We're now going to write 5 things that come to mind when we think of Riyadh up the line. So we have Australia and at least 5 words, and we will have Riyadh and at least 5 words. Okay, it could be multiple words that you write. You cannot get anything wrong with me. If you're on the phone, you know what to do. Type Riyadh, 5 things that come to mind. Pretend we went to the gym. We just did 2 sets of, in Arabic, linear thinking. Sorry, I can't read it either. Okay, 2 sets of linear thinking. Now what I want you to do, I want you to come up with a new business or product idea in 60 seconds. You're going to take at least one word from the Riyadh line, one word from the Australia line. You're going to put them together. You're going to look at them, and you're going to turn them into an idea. You're going to give this idea a name, a catchy name, a good name, fun name, and explain the idea in one sentence. Okay, there's 3 instructions or so there, which is not always the clearest way to run a workshop, but they have to come together. One thing from here, one thing from here, put them together, new business or product idea. One name, one sentence explanation. I'll give you 60 seconds because I believe in you. If I didn't, I would give you 2 minutes. Go. Okay, great, because I can't see. Okay. All right, we are going very quickly. Ahmad, who has one they'd like to share? Yes, please. Just raise your hand so Ahmad knows where to go. We have 2 people here. Convenient, thank you. We have 3. Very quickly, yes.
Okay, maybe when I'm thinking about Australia, many words I have, but crocodile visit. Okay, you're expecting to crocodile to visit,
Yep.
and the word from Riyadh, about Riyadh, luxury.
Yep.
So I will combine both of them, and the brand of Lacoste. So that's product statement for luxury people.
Okay. I
So-
like the idea of you selling luxury crocodiles to people.
Yeah.
People who are too good for normal crocodiles, get them
No.
out of here. Is that a normal crocodile? You get out of here. I want a luxury crocodile. I want 3.
Only crocodile as a picture. خلاص. So,
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
One more.
Okay, so there is one word in Australia that really came to my mind. It is the word nar. I'm sorry.
Nah,
And
nah,
no.
nah, mate.
And the
Nah.
other,
It's also yeah, nah. Yeah, nah.
and the other word from Riyadh is crowded. So nar, crowded. The first project that came to my mind is mini helicopter for individual person.
Say it again. It's a helicopter.
Yeah, like mini helicopter
Merely helicopter.
for individual person.
Okay, because they don't want a crowd.
Yeah.
Just to explain, you're saying nah
No,
because we say
nar,
N-O.
because no.
No,
Yeah.
no. There's also nah and there's yeah, nah. If you interview a footballer or a sports player, how was the game? Oh, yeah, nah, yeah, nah, it was pretty good. Team did well, yeah. All right, that's a broad Australian accent. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move on. I'm going to keep going. This is called lateral thinking. So 2 lines, line of thought, crossover, lateral in English, just fancy word for going across. We're forcing meaning to happen. Lateral thinking leads to an idea. Whether you're working in the industry I've grown up in, which is advertising, whether you're a writer, or whether you're about to make a proposal for the 6th mega project, your ideas need a clean name, like all of your mega projects do, and a clean sentence to explain what they are, where that sentence is capturing the things that make the thing the thing. There's often a lot of sloppiness when it comes to explaining ideas in the creative field. Laziness, we don't name our ideas. In advertising, which I know might not be all of your fields, sometimes there's a slide with idea and it says, idea 1. This idea is going to get people to visit Riyadh. And you're like, what? That's not an idea. I can't see 2 topics coming together. in an interesting way. There's no new meaning, there's no new value, there's no name. So we need some discipline around how we approach these things. This is borrowed from Edward de Bono. Good definition of the word idea is that an idea is a novel and useful combination of things that don't usually belong together. I don't know which industries you all work in, but I can tell you this year I've taught about 1,000 people in rooms like this in 14 countries, and I say, before today, when you came in, who's used the word idea this week? Everybody raises their hands. So let's do it. Who's used the word idea this week? A few people, okay? It's not a competition, by the way. The real question is, how many of you had a definition for the word idea before right now? I have been in rooms with 200 people, and it's 1 or 2 people. That's crazy. You can't be a doctor or an accountant without knowing the terms that you use all the time. So creativity is chaotic. In a lot of mythology, chaos is connected to creativity. Psychologically, if you want your organizations to be more creative, you need to allow them to be more chaotic. And discipline around writing what the ideas are. It's like, unless you grew up in these environments when you're creative and coming up with new things, but you know you've got to write things down in a clear way, it's very hard to understand from the outside. From a leadership point of view, what that means is you need to create cultures where it's like, just come back with something I couldn't have thought of. Come back with weird stuff, scary stuff. We'll work out the discipline later. But if you're coming up with the weird stuff, have discipline around how you explain your ideas. It's the main point from this section. Other than linear and lateral thinking, for me, were life-changing. I learned about them when I was 28. The book was probably 40 years old by that time. Linear and lateral thinking, to me, are like debit and credit in accounting. We should just know them in the first week of business school. I studied accounting for some reason for a few years. Oh, numbers, who needs them, am I right? Oh. Debit, credit, linear thinking, lateral thinking, super, super important, life-changing. The reason I start here when I'm talking about strategy is that for me, strategy work, and I can situate strategy work here within advertising and marketing, but I'm a business person, I'm an entrepreneur. I think I can stretch my definition a bit further. I believe that strategy work is creative work. Creative work is the work of ideas. Ideas are lateral thoughts. Lateral thoughts come from linear thoughts. There's a stack of definitions that help me understand how to do my work that I think can speed up a career by 10 years. Okay, so I believe that strategy work is creative work, but in the way that good nonfiction writing is creative. Good nonfiction writing, every paragraph has a sentence. Topic A and topic B, it comes together. I'd never thought about Saudi Arabia like that. I'd never thought about Australia like that. Oh my gosh. If you use TikTok or Instagram, the people you pay attention to online bring topics together in really novel ways, their ideas. Now, I've just got a time update, so that's good. So I'm going to call Eva up to the stage. There you are, come. We're going to go through this stuff very, very quickly. I'm not going to give you my marketing sciences 101 stuff. We'll save that for the next time I'm back. Maybe I'm just teasing you. 2025. I'm going to go through this framework called the 4 points. Welcome, Heba. Let's do claps. Let's do claps. You can sit down.
Thank you.
In 16 minutes, we're now going to solve Heba's life. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. What I will say is I had help from a friend, Moe, to translate some of the next few slides into Arabic. I'm not going to go through them all right now. If you want the 5 slides in Arabic, just go to my Instagram, DM me, or comment on, I just put a post up today, and it's very obvious you can comment. I'll just send the links. You don't have to register for anything. And also, I showed a link at the start, a QR code. I'll show it at the end. I've got like 5 decks, about 500 slides on strategy. You don't have to register, it's just a gift. So you can do the QR code at the end. What I'm going to do is go through this framework that I created called the 4 points. And we're going to apply it to somebody's life in 15 minutes. Problem, insight, advantage, strategy. For me, the problem with a brand is the obstacle or the barrier that's preventing someone from doing or buying something. a little bit more eloquently, the human problem behind the business problem. In advertising, most creative briefs will have one insight. If you are writing slides in whichever industry you are in right now with the word insight on 50 slides, you're lying. To me, insights are very much like what stand-up comedians will say, that get us to see the world differently. Unspoken human truths. Advantage becomes about the brand. In this case, it's going to be about Eva. Strategy is a new way, a solution, a new way of seeing your brand or your situation by putting the insight and advantage together to solve the problem. And we're going to have to go super, super quick. I was so busy making jokes before. Okay. Very quick example for the New York Knicks. This is a hypothetical strategy. It's a joke strategy. Does anybody have a sense of humor? Good. Otherwise, you wouldn't have stuck around. New York Knicks, big basketball team. Brief comes in. Season ticket sales are down. We find an audience that love New York. They love the New York Knicks, but they don't want to spend money because for 20-odd years, 20-plus years, the New York Knicks have not been very good. We speak to people. We go to YouTube. We interview experts, stakeholders. We look at TikTok, and we define the problem like this. Fans are hate supporting the team. That means that they love New York. They love the New York Knicks. They hate watching them lose. Now, if you follow basketball, they've had a good year, so I need to update this. Insight. There's something about New York that you put up with it until you snap. And I can find articles and essays by people like Moby, the famous producer. There's a famous female author called Joan Didion. People move to New York to pursue their dreams. The third winter, the fourth winter, they're like, I'm moving to LA or Austin or wherever it is, okay? This becomes about the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are designed to make people angry. Don't forget this is a joke. They're expensive. They haven't won in a long time. People don't like the owner, so on and so forth. There's an idea in the strategy here, topic A and topic B. We're going to show that the New York Knicks, topic A, are the best anger management in town. Topic B, basketball, anger management. If this led to an advertising campaign or a LinkedIn post, whatever it is, what we would expect is the content or the advertising to say, hey, we know we're not that good at basketball and we make you angry, but we're great therapy. Just come and yell at us and you'll leave relaxed. Okay, but there's an idea there, right? Thank you. Never been clapped before. Okay, but we're just using regular language, putting words like topic A, topic B, to create new meaning, okay? So we want to, this is what we're going to do with Heba right now. I'm going to skip through this. I'm going to skip. Okay, so we go to the problem. 3 very quick reasons to love problems. We're coming. Harvard Business Review says the top salespeople sell the problem. Lots of inventions have happened by people who have this mindset. If I had 5 minutes or a day or a week to work on a project, I'd spend 95% of my time in the problem, 5% of my time solving it, because, and I'm quoting, a problem well stated is half solved. 3, humans have a negativity bias. We are wired for problems. Think about all the gossip you've been doing this week. Think about the movies you watch, the songs you listen to. We watch them because it's about problem solving, okay? 3 reasons to love problems. Exercises that we do here. So where we're going to start with you, and we're going to jump between this and Word in 10 minutes. Is this even possible? What kind of street magic is this guy up to? Okay, I need a goal. I need to understand something about you and your life that you're struggling with. Okay? You can make it easy or you can make it difficult.
Okay, hi everyone. So I do work in advertising.
Yeah?
That's 1. I'm a strategist.
Yeah?
That's 2. Yay. My problem is with project managers.
Okay, what's the problem?
It is managing the project.
Yes?
Yes,
Okay, so project managers are the problem, great. So with dumper problem, all I'm going to do is go, what is causing that problem? And we're going to get 5 things from you. We'll go for 5, okay? Number 1.
5 things that are causing the problem.
Yeah, so project managers are the problem, but what's causing that
Lack of management experience.
Lack of management experience.
They also have to be therapists to deal with the clients, so...
They have to be therapists to deal with clients.
Empathetic, rather.
Okay.
They also have to be quick thinking.
They have to be quick thinking.
Great at writing for briefs and relaying all of this to the creative team.
You have high expectations. Need to be quick thinking and great. Okay.
And then number 5 is just open to understanding things they don't know about. So you're not always the smartest person in the room.
So they need to understand. They need to bring understanding of things that you don't understand. Okay, great. If you could solve this, what changes?
Changes?
Yeah. If you could solve this, what changes?
I'm not sure whether, depending on the industry, whether there needs to be a project manager if the flow of work is going well.
Hang on, answer my question.
Answer your question.
Yeah. What changes if this changes, what changes?
The workflow. Work is better, people are happier, no one's angry.
Okay, so it sucks working together is the bigger problem. Okay, great. Can you see that? It's on the screen here.
I can see the top of the screen.
Okay. What do you think is the biggest problem here? And we're just going to work in this document until we finish, I think. I'll come back next year and do the rest of the slides.
Okay, I'm going to go with being open to understanding, because once you are open to learn and understand, it solves all of this.
Okay, so you know about the big 5 personality traits? O is one of them, openness. People who are high in openness are often in creative work. People who are low in openness are often doing things like project management, but let's pretend you didn't know that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a version of the 5 whys, because we want to try to find the root cause of the problem. Symptoms, if we don't solve the root cause, repeat. If I have a runny nose and I take medicine, might get a runny nose next week, the following week. But if it's because I'm not dressing warm enough, I'm stressed, I'm not eating well, I'm not sleeping well, I want to get to the root cause of the problem. So, in your mind, and you're going to give me one sentence at a time, why are they not open to understanding?
Arrogance.
Okay. Arrogance. Why are they arrogant?
Because they're males.
Why?
No offense.
You don't know how I identify. I wanted to get patterns on this, and I was told only women could get patterns, so I'm like, now you're calling me a woman. And then I was hanging out with a Sudanese strategist who said I'm red, not white. So I left yesterday thinking I was a red woman. You don't know what I identify as. Why does being male make them arrogant?
Okay, that's not. Let's be serious for a second. It's
you
not
are being
because
serious.
they're male. I think arrogance comes from lack of awareness of you missing information.
Okay, why do you think these people who might be a particular gender lack awareness?
Tough question. They need therapy.
Just as well one of us has read books. Yeah.
They lack empathy.
Why do they lack empathy? You're giving me big words. I'm going to have to leap ahead and give us a problem to solve in a second. I'll give you a version, and you agree or you don't agree. So so we're using big words here: awareness, empathy. You're not doing this. A lot of strategists spend too much time trying to sound like strategists. I get it. You got educated. Short, sharp words. Sound more like a stand-up comedian, more like someone on TikTok. That is much more powerful for your strategy career if you do strategy. I'm going to reframe the problem at the top as questions are weak. I've read books.
You've written books.
I've read books. I have so much awareness. Am I winning? This is literally the dynamic we're going to document right now. So questions are weak. Insights are unspoken human truths. And I quite like, with this framework I use, this connecting language, but here's the thing about ... I want something that's going to feel like a stand-up comedian, okay? Now, here, we're not really solving your problem. What we're going to think about, I'm going to change the context, is we're imagining we're launching a campaign to get this target audience that might have a gender or not to change their behavior. That's our focus, okay? Let's go questions a week at the top and move everything else down onto that second page. Here, what we're going to do is with the insight, but here's the thing about. We want to bring language through, like questions or weakness, into the insight. And we want to start to shift the meaning of questions and weakness. Okay, one weakness with a lot of strategy frameworks in advertising, whatever shape they are, 2x2 circles, is often the words are too big. The second issue is there's no theme coming through. So we're going to sit on a theme. The way to do that is to repeat words. Oh, so complicated. Okay, so imagine that you're talking to someone. Imagine you're on stage with a man. A red woman man from Australia. And I'm not asking you questions. What might you say to me if you think that I think that asking you a question is weak?
Hello.
Okay.
I would probably start with the setting, so welcome to Riyadh.
Hang on. I think we need to rehearse this and we'll come back. Give me a sentence here. You think that I think questions are weak, but here's the thing about.
So I address the questions?
We want to use the word questions, and weak.
Questions get you to learn more about things.
Let's do that. Let's go with that. Questions get you to learn more. Okay, good. Now, let's say I am the campaign, because when it comes to the advantage, we're imagining you're doing a campaign to this gender, and you have a representative gender on stage. So now what we want to do is we want to try to find something in the history of this person you're talking to, or this group, that is about questions and weakness, learning and strength. They're the two themes that we have to work with here. So even though we're going very quickly, I start to imagine there's this small universe of words, small. I know that we've got weakness. Well, what's the opposite of weakness? Strength, strong, questions, answers, okay? So we're going to try to come up with an advantage. And it's okay if we sort of repeat the insight a little bit here. Let's use the word strong in the advantage. Okay, just need the document back on. We have it here. Questions get you to learn more about things. The good news is,
is that my turn?
Hey, you've read my book too. That's why you're up here. You speak great English, you have a sense of humor, and you've read my book. And you're pretending. Which page did you get up to?
Can't say.
Okay. You have not read my book. The good news is, let's use learning into the advantage. Learning more about things. Let's write this down. I'll do the work and the comedy. Learning about things in the future will give you more power. Okay? Power, weak, strong, questions, etc. Okay? Therefore, for you now, because you changed our game here, so therefore, strategy statement could be...
You will be smart.
Well, hang on, you just went out. So questions, learning, yeah, okay, we could use smart. We've got strength, we've got weakness. So with the New York Knicks, we had the New York Knicks are the best anger management in town. Here, we're really repositioning questions. So we're going to show that asking questions, that's topic A, asking questions, topic A, will, and now I need you to help me with the topic B so that my brain can catch up. Asking questions will
make you the person with all the answers.
That's not bad. Do we like that? Okay, clap. Clap. All right. Okay. So with 4 sentences, let's say, so the reason I call it the 4 points is because you have 4 points to play with now. If you were to turn this into a PowerPoint presentation or keynote, these are the 4 beats of the story. Opening slide, questions a week, and then we might have a few slides which have evidence about that. Research, interviews, surveys. Okay? The problem, it's uncomfortable, it sounds like criticism. The next few slides. But here's the thing about questions. Okay, I'm going to hear something I haven't heard before. Questions get you to learn more about things. That's fine, like it's not something you haven't heard before, but it's nice, it's fine for today. And then if we had a presentation, we'd have a few slides about how questions get you to learn more about things. The good news is learning about things in the future will give you more power. Now, when we apply a strategy framework like this to ourselves, that's kind of interesting. It's like, hey, the people you're describing, the men, hey, do you know that asking like 3 questions in every meeting might give you more information over a year? Let's say you've been in 100 meetings, you've asked 300 questions, you've gotten 300 plus answers. That's a lot of knowledge to work with, right? Who's going to say no to that? Men, am I right? I don't know how you identify. Okay. But then you're like, okay, so how's about I give you this goal as a little action? In the meetings that you go to in the next month, men, ask 3 questions in each meeting. Okay? Because that will, next year, make you the person with all the answers. Okay? So just wanted to show you. Thank you so much, Heber. Let's give Heber a round of applause. Was that traumatic? You can bounce off now. Thank you so much. And while I didn't get through all of the slides, you know what, just stay up here. It's like we're ending a television show. You're going to have to sing us out, though. Didn't get through all the slides, but just wanted to show you practical ways to use strategy thinking, critical thinking techniques in your life. This is where this becomes really, really powerful. Sometimes we spend 10 or 20 years in our careers, my job, and we're like, oh, I can apply some of this stuff to us, and that helps us change. Grab that QR code if you want. There's no registration. You can grab our decks. Riyadh, ImpaQ, thank you so much for having us. Big shout out to Marshall and Moe and everybody who's helped us get this deck together. You know, thank you for having us. Shukran. High five. It was quick.